Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Let's get this party started. I'm going to get it shared over on Becky Piper Life is a Journey. It's going to be a super quick one today because as you can see, most of me's already done up. I had to redo my lips though. Let me get it shared on my business page. That was a good look. All right, I'm going to have to take my collagen too because I haven't done that yet. Also helps the brows. So we're going to talk brows today. Let me share this to Becky Piper Life is a Journey. And I will also share it to YouTube later today, in case you want a future reference for this fun topic. If you follow me for very long, you know I am not the brow queen. All right, let's get the collagen going here. Collagen really helps your hair, skin, and nails. So in effect, it's going to help your brows. I've been taking it for like 3 years now. I love this one. I can travel with it. It's really super easy. 1 dose a day. Goes in your travel bag really easy. But if you've followed me very long, you know I am not the brow queen. No, there's no crown up here. But I've been gathering some fun tips for making our brows look better. These are my natural brows. Okay, so they're barely there. And that's because for hundreds of years, yes, I'm 105 years old. No, I'm kidding. I'm 62. Back in the 80s, I plucked these so that they were so very thin, or I waxed them so that they were so very thin because that's how everyone was wearing them. And if you do that very long, I'm just going to tell you, they're going to thin out. And as you get older, they thin out even more. So double whammy. Whammy, whammy. So here's some tips for you. You don't want to go, at our age, you don't want to go super blocked because that just doesn't look good. It doesn't. It just emphasizes things that you don't want to emphasize. But a little bit of brow magic will help you feel a little bit more confident, get you through the day. And I know for me, they're never perfect. They're not even usually cousins. You know, they say, let them be. They're not twins. Let them be cousins. Well, sometimes mine aren't even cousins. We're just going to be real there. All right. So you're going to choose a shape that follows your natural line of hair. We'll go with it like that. And I don't pluck my brows very often, but I pluck like this area right here because that's where the hairs come. And that's not where I want the hairs to go. I want them to come up here, but they don't. They come down here. And I really should do a better job about like kneading up the other side because your brows are supposed to kind of end where you do this. On, wait, side of the nose, outside edge. And so I could go a little bit further, but a lot of times like they go too further. I think I got a little too close when I did my face shaving the other day. But you want to choose a product that's going to really help you out. And you want to use like feather-like strokes to get it to be more natural looking. So I can start with, and I don't always start with this, but I can start with a pencil. And I like using a pencil because it's kind of on the waxy side, so it stays in place a little bit better. And then you're just drawing on little tiny strokes to fill in where your brow needs to be because, you know, they're not all about that. And the other thing is like, you're supposed to go this and see how this is not quite there. So I'm gonna do that little thingy trick and just start filling it in from there. See how much of a difference it just makes just with that? Now, you can stop with the pencil if you want, but if you want a little bit more structure and filling in, I recommend a brow gel. Now, what about the colors? Choose a shade that's just a little bit lighter than the hair color that you have at the moment, which mine changes, so I have to have a variety of colors going in. I like a brow gel since they've been released in the last 6 months, 8 months since I went to convention. Because it kind of helps fill things in where I don't have brows, as where the pencil doesn't have the shape, but it also keeps them wiry hairs like in place. All right, this one has a brush on one side, so I'm just going to kind of go in here. And my hair right now is kind of on the brown side. You don't want to go super dark because that just really ages your face too. So kind of keep it along the lines of what color you have your hair at the moment. So if you're like me, mine changes. And then, as a matter of fact, in a few weeks, it will be changing. It lasts about a month and ish, half-ish, somewhere in there. But it'll be probably a little bit darker in the roots. We'll see. So I might use dark. This one's medium. Nope, this one's dark. So this is maybe a little bit darker than I would have gone today, but I grabbed the medium out of my drawer because I've been using the dark. But that's not too far off considering I've got black mascara on. But if you have like grayish hair, use like the lightest of auburn or a lightest of light. Not too many companies actually make a gray brow product. I know we don't carry one, but we do have lighter shades that work really well for people that have gray hair. Because you don't want it to fade into your face. And even if you have gray hair, you don't want to go black, but you want to go a little bit with some color to help accent and just kind of lift the face. All right, again, feather-shaped, feather-light strokes to get that shape going. And I can do this on the same side of the nose, side of the eye, and that's where it's supposed to start. See, there's like a gap there. I have brow envy for a lot of people. Like, I'll watch like Hallmark shows or whatever show we're watching, and if somebody comes down with really great brows, I'm like, I want to know how they do that. And I've been known to take a picture of the TV so I can freeze frame it. You have to be pretty crafty taking those pictures though, because they flash through. They're actually moving, so go figure. All right, let's get this other side done. Now, other thing that will lift your brows is if you put like a lighter highlight shade underneath right underneath the brow, that kind of lifts them up a little bit too. I don't know if I even have anything in here that I could use for that. If I had thought about it, I would have brought something in, but I don't think I have. Maybe I do. I'll do that. We'll do this. I mean, considering I'm not doing my whole face here, I was thinking about going grocery shopping today because the hubby's coming home. He's going to start driving tomorrow. But the weather's going to be rainy and crappy again. So I don't really want to go out and get groceries. I've already narrowed it down to 2 stores. Usually we do 3. Normally we do the trifecta. We'll go to Sam's Club, then we'll go to Walmart, and then we'll go to Aldi. But the things we get at Aldi, like normally I get my yogurt there, but I'm up a couple for that. Am I liking those? What do you think? It just really helps frame your face and wakes you up. So let me grab, if I can find it. There we go. This will work. One of my shadow palettes. And I'm just going to lift a little bit underneath those brows. And this shadow palette happens to have 4 shades in there. And it's got a lighter one. Now, I like to use a matte if I'm going to do this highlight technique. So I'm going to grab a crease brush. But there are a lot of people that like to use like a little bit of a shimmer right there. And I tend to use the matte colors for that. I like shimmer, don't get me wrong, I like a little shimmer in the eyeball. So see, there's just a little bit of brightness there. Just a little bit more polished look. So if you don't have time for this step, don't fret it. It's not about perfection. Like I said, just be cousins, you don't have to be twins. And this is just gonna lift and open up those eyes a little bit more. Look at that. All right. So there's some other things you can do to help your brows. You can treat it like skincare. If you have a serum that you can use, you can put on those every night. That's cool. Or a light oil. If you have fuller, defined brows, it's going to open your eyes and frame your face a little bit more. It just gives a little bit offset there. And don't forget that highlight. Okay, and where you stopped it, the general, I like a long pencil. So the edge of the eye, that's where that's heading. I could come down a little bit further if I wanted to. Side of the nose pupil, that's the highest point it's supposed to be. So let's see how we did on this side. Oh, I went a little further there. It's fine. I've seen some people go way in there. I don't know. I just feel like that brings it in. Pretty good there. Pretty good there. All right. That's, if you have a lash serum, you can use that, or a brow serum, you can use that. If you have a lash serum, you can actually, I mean, they're basically the same ingredients. Hair is hair, people. You can use that on your brows at night. Now, it's not going to grow back magically. It's just not going to, if you've overplucked them like I have for years and years and years, they're not going to come back by magic. So that's when we have to lean on the products to help things out. All right. I told you it was going to be short and sweet today. This is it. This is the brows. So focus on the 3 points. Use a little subtle highlight to help lift them up a little bit further. If you brush through your brows daily, finish with a clear tinted gel, that's going to set it in place. But I like the tinted gel because that helps just give a little bit more color to it. And again, if you have gray hair, use a light-ish color, the lightest that you can find, but it's still going to give it a little bit of color. If you have super dark hair, obviously you use the darkest that you can find. Don't go too blocky. And I don't recommend those stamps. I'm still not getting it. You should be able to stamp it on there. You can also, if you don't have a gel, you can actually use eyeshadow, like a dark shadow, or a color that is going to complement your hair color and or your hair or your face coloring. You could use shadow. Now, I will warn you about the shadow. If you get out in the rain, that shadow's going to run. But if you use the shadow with a little bit of setting spray, then it'll stay a little bit longer. The gels have a tendency to stay a little bit longer too. All right, that's it for today. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a fantastic Wednesday. Hopefully you get some sunshine where you're at. We're not getting it here today, so tomorrow is grocery day. Hopefully it's not raining in the morning. All right, we'll talk to you guys on Friday. Have a great day. Bye, y'all.